India's scored a big diplomatic strike in Nepal, and it's an attempt to counter China in the subcontinent. My colleague Abhishek has accessed details, exclusive details of how India is going in to Nepal with a big way with its infrastructure push. Now, India and Nepal traditionally have been very, very close until recently when there were a few tensions over the Chinese intervention. Abhishek is joining me with the details. Abhishek will share us the details with India's plan in Nepal. Abhishek, over to you.
Well, Niranjan, so the story is that India is going to facilitate infrastructure push at least 40 airports across Nepal. Nepal might have about 50. The big ones, you exclude them, like the Tribhuvan International Airport at Kathmandu, among others. But about 40 big and small airports in Nepal to get a big India infra push. That's the big story. Remember, just a few days back or a fortnight back, when the Prime Minister was there in Nepal on the occasion of Buddha Jayanti and Buddha Purnima, he did not land in Nepal. He landed at Kushinagar in Uttar Pradesh and then took a chopper to the spot. The reason was that Lumbini International Airport, which is the nearest to the place where the event was, has been built by the Chinese. Chinese recently built the Pokhara International Airport also, both very close to India. Lumbini Airport, in fact, is just 10 kilometers from Nepal-India border. The Chinese have been making big infrastructure push in Nepal, like at other places, including neighbors of India like Sri Lanka and Maldives. And they have building trains that will come from Tibet right up to Kathmandu. To counter this, an understanding has been reached between India and Nepal to upgrade the strategic equation and bring in this infrastructure push. It would be a public-private partnership model, and Nepal is going to see a lot of involvement from India at its airports. Remember, when China does an infrastructure project, it's always a dual-use civil-military infrastructure. So, for example, when they build Hambantota Port in Sri Lanka, it was also used for surveillance, it was believed, because the Chinese got in their radars as well. And of course, they were using that outpost to keep vigil on the Indian Ocean region. Of course, apart from that, the issue of debt diplomacy, debt trap diplomacy also being there. The reason why the Sri Lankans are really struggling in good measure is because of the Chinese debt. Similarly for Maldives. So India now countering all this in its neighborhood. We have seen how we have helped Sri Lanka, but this one on Nepal is a big one. A strategic component involved, with India getting involved in development and upkeep of at least 40 airports across Nepal, Niranjan.
One small question to you, Abhishek. Now, I'm just seeing that there are about 40 to 43 airports in Nepal. Now, these are small airports to medium-sized airports. Are you saying that India is going to upgrade all of these airports? Now, if so, that's a big move.
Absolutely, Niranjan. So what the number we are being told is between 40 and 45. This could include, apart from airports, airstrips. Remember, much of Nepal is mountainous territory, and they have airstrips which are not clearly classified as airports, but then they have a strategic importance in terms of reaching people, reaching military supplies, and that's why, taken together between airports and existing airstrips, it's about 40-45 in number. That's what India is going to collaborate on with Nepal, and that's really going to be taking the India-Nepal strategic partnership really to the next level. And of course, as I mentioned, Niranjan, this is clearly a counter to China. Remember, our Prime Minister not flying down to Lumbini International Airport was built by the Chinese. They have recently built the Pokhara Airport on Wang Yi. Chinese Foreign Minister had landed in Nepal about 2 months back. He had gifted the keys of the airport in a symbolic ceremony to the Nepalese Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deva, and we have not been watching it from the sidelines. Indian strategic community was also working, and that's the result we are getting, that India and Nepal would be collaborating on building all these airports, upgrading the infrastructure and managing them in about a few years. But process has already started, Niranjan. That's a big one.
Thank you for that, Abhishek. Big infrastructure push in Nepal. Over 40, anywhere between 40 to 50 airports and airstrips will be upgraded by India in Nepal, which is a big strategic move and an infrastructure push in the last few stages. And that's the big diplomatic scoop.